In Kerala, India, temple elephants have historically lived a life defined by strict control. Massive iron chains and the sharp commands of human handlers, known as mahouts, keep these giant animals tightly managed during crowded public festivals. Kidangoor Kandankoran was a complete anomaly in this system. He towered over the most famous elephants of his era, identifiable immediately by his extreme height, physical length, and a massive pair of forward-curving tusks. Curious, yet despite his immense size and location, Kandankoran categorically refused to be tied down. He wore no chains, accepted no ropes, and took no direct orders from any human rider. Having a fully grown, untamed bull elephant wandering freely through a populated village sounds like a recipe for constant terror and destruction. He survived as a free-roaming giant among humans for a simple reason. The humans didn't dominate him. He governed his own behavior with a remarkably strict, self-imposed moral code. One afternoon, an elderly Aithihyamala, a traditional Brahmin woman, was walking down a narrow, walled alleyway. She turned a corner and came face to face with the towering elephant. Terrified, she collapsed directly in his path. Kandankoran stopped. Since there was no room to turn around, he reached down, gently picked the woman up with his trunk, and placed her safely on top of the side wall. He then picked up her dropped umbrella, set it next to her, and continued on his way without leaving a single scratch on her. His empathy extended to other animals as well. During the day, he would deliberately break down the fences of local sugarcane farms, herding hungry village buffaloes inside to feed, and aggressively charging at any farmer who tried to chase them away. Here is the most revealing detail about his restraint. While he happily provided a feast for the buffaloes, Kandankoran never ate a single stalk of the sugarcane himself. It wasn't given to him freely, so he refused to take it. Without any iron shackles to hold him back, he chose to restrict his own immense physical power, prioritizing gentleness and empathy entirely on his own terms. That gentleness, however, had strict limits. Kandankoran spent most afternoons sleeping completely submerged in a deep pool in the local river. One evening, a riverboat crew failed to notice him and accidentally drove their wooden vessel right over his head. He erupted from the water. He grabbed the boat, violently shattered the wood, and dragged the pieces down to the riverbed. Crucially, he let every terrified crew member swim safely to shore. From that day forward, he held a permanent grudge. Kandankoran enforced a strict embargo on that stretch of the river, intercepting and destroying any boat that attempted to cross while he was resting there. The local boatmen were so unnerved by his memory and his territorial control that they pooled their money to fund a permanent lamppost at the nearby Kidangoor Temple, offering prayers simply to secure safe passage past the elephant. He clearly understood spatial boundaries and the concept of collective punishment. When humans encroached on his designated space, he took it upon himself to manage and discipline them. His grasp of complex human systems went beyond holding a grudge. During temple festivals, he required no handler to guide him. He voluntarily showed up when he heard the starting drum beats, perfectly adjusting his walking pace to match the specific musical rhythm and the day of the festival. This chart shows exactly how his internal clock acted as an anti-corruption device. The temple allocated a specific amount of expensive lamp oil for each festival night. If corrupt officials skimmed off some oil to sell, the lamps would burn out early. But Kandankoran always knew exactly how long the procession was supposed to take and refused to speed up his walk. By the time he finished, the shortened oil supply would be blatantly obvious, making it impossible for the officials to pocket the difference. He operated more like a specialized contractor than a beast of burden. By negotiating his fees and punishing non-payment, he forced the timber yards to treat his strength as a professional service rather than a given resource. The people of Kidangoor treated him as an equal. They actively adapted their own lives and schedules to accommodate his rules. This deep coexistence earned him a permanent chapter in the Aithihyamala, Kerala's famous collection of historical legends. The Aithihyamala records portray a figure whose social standing was defined by his autonomy. He walked the village streets as a recognized peer, holding a status usually reserved for human citizens. His story forces us to question exactly where we draw the line on animal intelligence, and whether humans always have the inherent right to chain and direct the massive creatures we share the earth with. Kandankoran's life suggests that an animal's dignity is best demonstrated through self-governance. He lived as a giant who answered to no one, yet remained bound by his own sense of justice.